Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to LCK Summer 2020. I'm Atlas, once again joined by the Valdanalist 3 days in a row. This is the day that we're actually supposed to cast together, though.
Yeah.
So this is the good one. We've made it.
Yeah.
We got there in the end.
We're here on Saturday, as we normally are.
Yeah.
And we got some good games. We got DAMWON up against Team Dynamics to start us off, and we'll just have to wait and see if DAMWON can 2-0 another team as strongly as they have been to so many of the teams here in the LCK.
Yeah, exactly. And if DWGG do that, they are on track to equalize with SKT of 2015. We talk about this all the time, but it is a huge record. A plus 29 game score has not happened ever other than that 1 year. And we'll see whether they can get there, because it's unprecedented, right? Remember, this team went on to win Worlds. Marin got MVP of Worlds that season. He also got 36 solo kills in the final, season of the year.
Yeah.
It was an unbelievable performance from this team, and it certainly bodes well for DWGG moving towards international competition. But we're getting a bit ahead of ourselves. Points of the match will start things off. The Will of D unfolded in a different storyline. I have no idea what that means, but I love it. That is a fantastic line.
The Will of D.
Yep. Dynamics hasn't won a series in round 2, and DWGG is undefeated in round 2. It's a One Piece meme, according to GSUM. We're just not weaving enough of it. I don't know. But yeah, Dynamics, they do need to get back on track. Remember, this was the start of DAMWON's winning streak. In fact, that was the first win back after losing to DRX very early on. You know, this was a while back. So looking forward to seeing what DAMWON has in store for us. Remember, Lilia is enabled. She was played yesterday. And Canyon likes having a bit of fun. He also really likes farming. Lilia really likes to farm, so maybe it's going to be a Canyon champion. He also enjoys playing the AP. So we might have to be talking about Watch Out Eep again today.
Again. It was fun, you know, getting the new champion in and seeing what it can do. Kind of testing it out with DRX. And I mean, it looked okay from what we could see. It doesn't look like it's going to be a game changer or anything like that. Volibear still on top of the jungle totem pole for now. And yeah, I wonder if DAMWON really would be the team to come out here and test it up against Team Dynamics, as it's going to be an interesting one. Definitely we have a clear favorite and underdog as
the stats come up just as you say that.
Baron percentage is 100%. They get Baron in 100% of their games?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
In round 2.
Oh, yeah. These round 2 stats are really throwing me off.
Yeah. So this is just round 2. It just shows that DWGG have gone from really good in round 1 to even better in round 2.
Yeah.
That's what these stats are saying. Team KDA of almost 10 is ludicrous. Absolutely insane. The goal difference is almost 10k at 20 minutes on average.
Yeah,
on average, Brendan.
Oh, man.
But that dragon percentage really could be higher. 74.5%, that is pathetic.
Only 75%.
Yeah, it's really not what you want.
You
Guga Doctor, Kuzan,
guys.
Beyond, and Rich will be your Team Dynamics roster. No changes, of course. Hashtag no changes here for Team Dynamics. And they, in fact, don't have any subs. So there was not going to be a chance that anyone else was coming in. However, on the side of DAMWON, they could have subbed in Flame. They didn't. They could have subbed in Nuclear. They didn't. And they could have subbed in Hoyt. They didn't. So it is going to be exactly the same roster. You got debated, but
as it goes,
we had to try and find something interesting, because these rosters haven't changed all season long. So
yeah, I actually had this weird dream where I was watching DWGG, and it was actually Hoyt in the support role. I don't remember much else, but that is one of the things I remembered. So maybe I had kind of like a fever dream in Worlds when somehow Hoyt overcomes Beryl, because Beryl is definitely one of the best supports right now in the LCK. So I don't think that will happen. And apparently, Nuguri has been having an insane round 2, as have all of the players there, as Rich does a lot of damage for his team. That hasn't changed.
Yeah, so he's 3rd on damage percent. Nuguri is 2nd. I'd be interested to figure out who 1st is, as I think it might be Canna, actually. Who's got that first as far as damage share is concerned. But damage share is a really interesting stat when it comes to DAMWON, because Canyon does way more damage than most other junglers, because he likes to play things like Karthus, and Showmaker is on this team. So doing more damage is, in comparison to your teammates, is a really rough stat to track. However, Nogri is first in every single other metric that we had listed there. I think isolated deaths is still pretty up there for Nogri. He does like to die, but he certainly likes to come back and kill himself. So we'll see whether it is going to be Rich that's going to get the better of him in lane. Kuzan on your screen right here, feeling the pressure just a little bit. He was sort of the god of the challenger mid lane. And since making his way back to the LCK, it has been much like it was when he was here previously. You know, middle of the pack, mid laner. As Showmaker looking like he's ready to go back to
He's
bed.
ready to go home.
Yeah.
He's like, how fast can I end this game today?
I mean, that's what he says every single week.
Exactly.
So.
He's trying to make it home as fast as possible.
Ooh, and Pog standings, another thing we got to talk about. If Showmaker gets back-to-back Pogs, he's going to equalize with BDD at the top of the standings on 1,200 points. So keep your eye out for some of those Showmaker super plays. Yeah. I'm not going to be skewing the standings. That's going to be up to good old Valdanalis right next to me here, who can throw in some bias.
We've been being non-biased, right? I voted for Doran over Keria yesterday. Keria still won, of course, because it's Keria.
Yep.
But yeah, we'll just vote for whoever deserves it the most. As Beryl, I believe, is also on that list. He's down at like 800, I think, or 700.
Yeah.
Definitely up there in terms of those Pog points. So we'll see who does win it from DAMWON if they do win, which who knows?
Indeed. They haven't won the series yet. Yeah.
Maybe Team Dynamics come out here in 2-0. That would be the talk of the LCK, wouldn't it?
That's some spicy suggestions you've got there, Valdez. As Set and TF going to be our first two bans as we hop into ban and pick for game number 1. Dynamics on the blue side wearing their blue colors. Perfect. Love it.
Yes.
My OCD is well and truly quenched.
Well, we have a green-blue team on the red side, so that doesn't don't really match.
I'm not looking at
Did you ever notice how Karma's colors match really well with DAMWON's colors?
And yet, ironically, they hate playing Karma.
Yeah, they don't play Karma very often.
No.
I mean, they have Nuguri and Showmaker as solo laners, so
yeah,
why would you?
You're not going to flex.
And Beryl as a support, why would you?
You have like the ultra engaged support player who's never going to play Karma, absolutely.
Yeah,
and then two solo laners that just want to have fun, so yeah. That ain't happening. DAMWON thinking about their final ban here. Caitlyn's still available. In fact, the entire 80 carry pool is still up.
Yeah, this is a very tier list kind of ban phase. You know, it's just like, who's strong right now? Let's take him off the board. And they've done exactly that, as Ashe is going to be prioritized even with the Caitlyn ban. They say, no, Ashe is just a really good 80 carry on top of it.
Ezreal Bard probably going to be locked in here by DAMWON if we're continuing to go down the tier list. But maybe they have something special planned. And Senna looks to be coming out. So now Canyon can pick his jungler if he would like to. Volibear having been banned, and Senna being picked actually means that Olaf goes up just a little bit as far as priority.
DAMWON were watching T1. And
Italy.
They decided Senna is really strong. I mean, Ghost, obviously, definitely, probably the most supportive 80 carry in the LCK, and Beryl is, of course, really aggressive. The Wukong is banned, and so is the Set. So it's going to be interesting to see what does go along the Senna down the bottom side. I wouldn't expect Beryl really to play that, so we'll have to wait and see.
Yep. Beryl could go back to an old favorite in the Maokai if he would like to. Okay, this is Dynamics, so of course the Lucian's going to come in. It's not going to be in the 80 carry position, but Rich and Kuzan both absolutely love this. And we saw Chovy recently pull it out in the mid lane, going for the full crit Lucian build, pretending that he's like Ashe or Caitlyn.
Yeah.
And really doing massive damage. Also farming way more than he should. That doesn't really make sense. But it is going to be for the top lane as Zoe is going to be locked in. So all of our carries, priority picked here for Dynamics. And on the blue side, it is a side where you can get away with doing that a little bit more often than red. On red, you probably should be saving a few of those counter picks. But now DAMWON don't even need to worry about it.
What is Showmaker going to play here? Are they going to pick for Showmaker just yet? Because
I think they need to pick for Noguri, otherwise they're going to ban away a lot of different options into the Lucian. This is still a flex, and that is going to be the Renekton. That'll be the answer into the Lucian.
Oh, man. Very interesting. It's something that we have seen here in the LCK, picking the Renekton into stuff like Lucian, like Jace, these lane bullies that are so annoying to deal with, and Renekton is one of those champions that can deal with it very well, even though he is melee. So,
yeah,
you know, we used to have a lot of like Gnar or like Kennen coming in here, but the Renekton priority in the LCK has gone way up, which is very clear in recent times. And
it's interesting because we've had really strong opinions about Renekton. That is absolutely true. But with the fact that the LCK has started becoming so much faster,
yeah,
I think teams are valuing the Renekton so much more due to that. Because if games on average go for 25 minutes, then all of Renekton's problems are kind of alleviated. Because he never gets to the point where he's utterly irrelevant, that we of course talk about all the time. And it's going to be Renekton Nidalee, which is one of the favorite combos here for a lot of teams. They will be playing with their cards a little bit face up, especially into a Lucian lane. The Renekton will need help. So we'll see how Canyon's going to be out of path to make sure that he can get towards that top lane and try and at least get a flash early to alleviate some of that pressure onto Noguri. But we're getting ahead of ourselves just a little bit. Brad and Olaf to be banned away here by DAMWON. There's Pantheon looking for a partner here on the ban list for Dynamics.
Yeah. How many bans is Beryl going to eat this game? Like,
I don't know about the Pantheon ban, honestly. I don't know whether Senna Pantheon is exactly the greatest of lanes, but
it works.
Maokai, okay.
Go, and there's the Maokai that you were talking about. And, I mean, what's left here for Beryl? What is he going to be playing? We could wait and see. They could save the counter pick for the support role because they already know what's going mid and what's going top here on the side of Team Dynamics.
You know what it is? It's fasting Senna Renekton bot.
Ooh, Azir.
All right. Azir coming out for
Senna Renekton. Not sure about that one, but that would make...
Senekton.
Wow.
Yeah.
That would make Renekton's, his stonk prices are going up recently. They're going to go even farther up if he can be flexed into support with Senna.
That's a very expensive handbag.
Yeah.
Right there. As Rek'Sai, the Rek'Sai Zoe synergy looking to come out here, and it is going to be beyond locking that one in. Back when he was on MVP, certainly absolutely loved the Rek'Sai, but I guess everyone did back then. And Guga, what is he going to be playing here? Very squishy, his dynamics at the moment. We might need a tanky engage style of support, but you may not want to. Having a bit of range could be good, and some safety here with the Thresh.
Yeah. They could just go also the DRX comp, where they have no tanks, only damage. Everybody's really squishy, but also mobile. But they do go with the Thresh, which I do feel like that does complement this comp very well. And obviously, tons of follow-up on some of the engage and pick that they already have. But that does mean that we're saving Beryl's Alistar potentially as the counter pick.
Do it. I want this so bad. 1 second to go, and it will be Leona. So it won't be the fasting Senna. We're just going to be doing as much damage as possible, and there's just more engage options and maybe a little bit more reliable engage. With the Leona, Shield of Daybreak, her opponents, and it's funny, like picking Leona into Thresh, which is like the classic counter to the Zenith Blade with the Flay.
Yeah.
It's an odd choice, but just showing that DAMWON aren't really picking this for lane. They just want those solo flares for the team fight. They can set up some pretty amazing Emperor's Divides with Noguri just slicing and dicing around, chomping people up.
And this is a DAMWON gaming composition nowadays, because this is something that if you get ahead, you can end the game in like 23 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Like Renekton Nidalee is the new Renekton Elise, and that's definitely, you highlighted it there. That duo is definitely part of the reason why Renekton stonks have gone up a lot as well. And they can just get such an early lead with that comp. But we're first going to take a look here at Team Dynamics' comp. You can see that their ability to just shave one person away from the 5 and just chomp down on them and make it a 5v4 real quick is going to be quite good. Obviously, I think Ninja Tabi will be nice, but at the same time, you're dealing with Zoe and Thresh, so perhaps not. Probably will see a mix of boots on their side, as this is the very scary DAMWON composition.
Yep, they will have mid-priority here for DAMWON. Azir will be able to shove the Zoe in early, but it's likely that that will be alleviated once mid-game comes around, which is, of course, where Zoe does absolutely thrive. Looking at the Dynamics comp, though, as we hop into game number 1, I'd like to dub this the, Vision Hacks comp. We could call it like the black sheep wall, because they've got Tremor Sense, they've got Portal Jump from Zoe, which gives you a lot of added vision over walls, everything like that, and they've got Hawkshot. Like, they barely need wards. It's insane.
Yeah.
And if they're able to use Hawkshots effectively and keep Rich safe, then this Lucian will almost always know that Canyon's not around him and he can keep putting on pressure. And that's exactly what top lane Lucian needs to do. And remember, guys, like, this is Rich's pick. He was Lucian Aatrox 2-trick in Challenger. This had to be banned by, like, every single team. They banned these away because he was just too good. And we saw what Smeb could do on it. We saw what Canna could do on it. The top lane Lucian does have a lot of potential, but it's a huge coin flip. And Dynamics need to try and get the Lucian ahead in any way possible.
Yeah. And speaking of Rich's Lucian, just a fun stat. He has 12 unique champions played. He only has win rates on 2 of them. Lucian is one of them. The other one is Volibear. So
yeah.
He's 2-1 so far on the Lucian. We'll see if he can potentially stack up another win as DWG Gaming.
No.
They never stop with the aggression, Atlas.
Yep, they're going to move in. They're going to find Beyond, who immediately flashes, and he'll lose his red buff. This is utter disaster for the early game of Dynamics, and really smart from DAMWON.
I thought Canyon was going to go across for a second. I'm like, this guy's actually insane.
Oh, it is going to sacrifice lane just a little. You saw that Ghost and Beryl lost out on a bit of experience. But winning this jungle matchup is absolutely huge for everything that we spoke about before about the Lucian. I think, like, the top lane is going to be very, very important for how this game is going to go. Because if the Renekton gets too big, like, Dynamics are all squishy. Like, the Crocodile gets near anyone, he just eats them.
Oh, look at the pathing here from Canyon. He is going straight for his other red, but Beyond is coming in here at the same time. He's not at full health.
And Tremor Sense hasn't actually been activated yet, unless Canyon was just out of range.
I think now?
No, he doesn't have the skill.
Wow.
He doesn't have the skill.
Right.
So he actually can't utilize it as Canyon's going to land the spear.
He has no flash, remember.
Yep. Hounds comes forward. That's a really good interrupt, but Showmaker's here. Doesn't have Shifting Sands yet, remember, guys, but Beyond is just going to get pounced on by Canyon. It's just a matter of time. Red buff's there. Smite comes in. Canyon's going to land a spear onto the blue buff, as there it is, first blood, as we expected, and the Tentacle Monster comes out. Vel'Koz represent.
He's already leashing the blue as he's chasing down Beyond for the kill.
It's like Beyond was a Gromp, and he was like doing the double leash.
He's just farming both of them at the same time. Just Canyon things as... Oh, man. Beyond goes for the risky play, and he gets caught out there. And you can see he was very tentative about getting in, as the hook is going to get flashed.
Yeah, Ghost is going to do a bit of damage to Dr. but as you can see, the Ashe very strong at this stage of the game. And Beyond now still level 2. He's taken 1 camp. And now it looks like this Rift Scuttler might be helping him get back just a little bit. Great reaction there from Rich to relentlessly pursue backwards. I know that's the wrong way of saying it, but that's a proper noun.
Pursuing his safety.
He's pursuing the reverse direction.
Yes.
Pursuing the wall. His
like
own
this.
turret. Yeah, holding the minion wave.
And then he just decides, actually, never mind.
It is going to make sure that the wave is on his side, but he'll be able to build it up. And I guess maybe if Beyond's going to look for a gank, or a dive, stacking the wave will be a good idea. Let's see whether that is what Rich is going for here. Because that will eventually push back to Nuggery.
You can see here some of the stats for the Team Dynamics picks. Obviously, Kuzan has played a lot of Zoe himself, as here's the gank.
Yeah, Beyond's going to come in. Beryl does have Eclipse as he's looking for the stun onto Dr. That's a great step back, though. Guga did use his flash, but that's a very easy kill. DAMWON suffer one on the bottom side. They are still ahead in gold, but anything to get this Rek'Sai to some point where she's relevant is important, because at the moment, struggling a whole lot. Yeah. 4-0 for Canyon, 2-0 for Nuggery. Showmaker's first Azir game. That's crazy.
He sees Keria and he's like, well, I want to have a lot of unique champions myself. let me play Azir here. Azir, obviously, quite good into the Zoe with the portal jump back to handle that, and Emperor's Divider. As this was just a really nice setup gank. I think that DAMWON didn't really have the lane in position to get vision down. So with no flash on Leona, you're just a sitting duck. Even if you are a little bit tanky, you're still not going to have a fun time if it is 3-on-2 and you have no vision. And Rek'Sai has that unique ability to go over the wall.
Yep,
As
flash immediately from Rich. Not wasting any time, but that is still a successful gank. This is exactly what we're talking about. Canyon had to be there, at least at some point before level 6. And he made it level 5, but beyond. Looking for potential gank himself. Noguri moving out of the way, and level 6 is very important to try and stave off ganks. He's not there just yet. There's the Zenith Blade. Cougar actually getting taken down very low. Hook comes back. Max range onto the Leona, but Piercing Darkness is going to be there. And Ghost will be able to just go into the Shroud, and he'll be absolutely fine. As, Docdom and Guga are actually having a really good time here in this lane. We've been very critical of Docdom, especially. Good to see that he's performing decently, at least so far.
Kuzan is pretty aggressive in this lane. He's got Beyond nearby, as looks like we're all grouping up for a potential dragon take here, but Canyon and Beryl want to try to shut it down. They're not going to be able to, as the Scuttle Crab is taken away. And Canyon looking for something to do. Not quite going to get on top of Kuzan as he's spotted on the ward. The top lane seemingly very even. You see it's pushing into Rich, but he's behind just a bit on CS, so very, very even in terms of the CS numbers up in the top side. And again, that's what Renekton can do. That's part of the reason why we see him more often. As here we go.
Yeah, that's the all-in from Noguri. He's doing a lot of damage here to Rich. The culling comes out. Noguri's going to back away. So R buttons traded for R buttons. But remember, Noguri has flash. And he is definitely eradicating this lane of any Lucians. He's going to look for that back. And as soon as Noguri gets the Ninja Tabi, that's when it's sort of time for him to start going in and going aggressive. But this is a disaster. No teleport on Rich. And he's now trying to make his way back with just a longsword. He did not want to be backing then. And it just shows, like, you just need to have some sort of advantage, get to around level 6 or 7, and then these all-ins from the Renekton can work for a few levels at least. It's just the danger of this top lane Lucian that just requires you to keep the pressure on so much. Mm-hmm. It's almost like both of them are pretty similar situations. Although I feel like the coin flip is a little bit larger for Lucian.
Looking to potentially get the flash away from Kuzan, but Guger is there. Rift Herald just spawned, so that's why Guger and Beryl have rotated up to the top side of the map here. I think with the jungle control that DAMWON have right now, Dynamics might just want to give away this objective, but we see that they're all grouping up here. Beyond's not even level 6. So I'm not really sure if Team Dynamics can force a fight here and win it, as Canyon very confidently just going to start up this objective.
Yeah, Rich is going to make it down to the river, so theoretically there is a little bit of lane priority there, but Noguri, he went back, Ninja Tabi done, as well as the Vampiric Scepter. And he's also pressed the attack Renekton. We've seen a few of the Conqueror varieties, but he just wants to do as much damage as possible, as Bubble's not going to land onto Beryl. Very skinny is Leona, apparently. And that is free Rift Herald going over to DAMWON. And I think that all stems from the level 1. Canyon being able to find that advantage, being so much stronger. Noguri getting chunked a little bit here, but has Dominus available yet again. Still no flash for Rich.
Noguri missed 2 CS in a row. He's only looking for the trade.
Yep, there's the slice and dice. Piercing Light comes in. That is going to be the full culling, but avoided. And Noguri grabs the solo kill. That's what happens when you have flash and your opponent doesn't. The Renekton is going to reign supreme here. Now 20 CS in the lead. He'll crash it into the turret and grab some plates as Showmaker shifts the sands, and he'll be absolutely fine. And Rich's famous Lucian not really working out so far this game.
Yeah, he was set pretty far behind after losing the trade just before, and with no flash, as you mentioned, he is not going to be able to get away from that Renekton. So you just got to play safer in that moment. But as Lucian, that's kind of the last thing you want to do. You want to have lane
You're not allowed
priority.
to, right? Yeah.
But it's like, it's a lose-lose, right? It's like either you die like this. Noguri says, I got him. I got, I used my flash as Wow, down in the bottom lane, Ghost is dead.
He is. He didn't use his flash, as now we're looking for Rich yet again. Yep, Spear is going to connect because it's free. And yeah, the Meek are really being culled up here.
You see the sad B?
Yeah, sad B is the saddest, man.
It makes me feel bad when I kill people and they throw out the sad B. It just feels like bullying in that case.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what it's feeling like up towards the top lane. The Crocodile and the Kitty Cat. Really putting that pressure on. And this snowball is really starting to become a problem. There's a Drake that's going to be taken as an answer, but giving all of that money early to the Renekton means that his relevance is going to stick around for so much longer. Not going to be a lot of opportunity for Rich to try and exert his pressure, as his Blade of the Ruin King is on the way, but he has no boots. The Ninja Tabi that Nuguri put together early, definitely doing work.
Yeah, I think he's one of the players that should pick up the Ninja Tabi as he's going up against the Lucian. We'll see how many others do get it. We already have Leona picking it up, but notice that the Merc Drents up against the Zoe lane is there for Showmaker.
Also having it against Ashe is a good idea as well, so you can certainly understand that.
And Thrash, and all the other stuff they have there. As I'm going to take another look here at the bottom side play, as they know Gugar's in the brush, but they're still standing nearby, and they just get hooked. It's the cleanest, most straightforward Thresh kill that you've ever seen.
And we've gone from one very understandable kill on the bottom side to another one up towards the top lane as the sad beat comes out again, and we're sad all over again.
Yeah, DYN is really trying to force this mid gank onto Showmaker. He knows what happens if you leave Showmaker alone. Probably a pentakill sometime in the mid game at about 21 minutes, and then the game ends. So he's trying, but he's not finding much luck. As Showmaker also has his flash still, so that gank is just not really going to work.
These are looking like some gold numbers from old DAMWON before Ghost joined the roster. Is Guga going to get slowed? There's the flash forward from Beryl. They're going to land a spear, but the Zenith Blade came down because, of course, he held on to it. Guga goes golden, and now in goes Beyond, but he's mega squishy. Canyon not going to be taken. Oh. And Docdom, he does eventually find the kill under the Nidalee, but Ghost now trying to trade back, and Showmaker slides on in and collects the Ashe for himself. Now, Kuzan here trying to tidy up. I don't think he's going to be able to. Beryl was lit on fire with a counterfeit ignite, but that's going to be about it for Kuzan.
Yeah, nice start there from DAMWON. It was a 3-on-2 to start. Kuzan's got to be careful. He does have that W flash, so he's kind of recklessly portal jumping forward, but still Emperor's Divide and Flash available on Showmaker. So he's just going to sit back, wait, and farm under the turret. As Gugar had flash and stopwatch, and they were still going for that play onto the Thresh, which I thought was kind of interesting, but they didn't want to have him save the Ashe. Here we go again.
Oh my god, Nuguri damage! And Beyond, what are you doing here? You can't fight this huge crocodile. He's level 11. He's 4 levels ahead of the jungler.
It's Godzilla.
It's so Showmaker. Yeah, he's absolutely Godzilla. This is, now it's so funny because Smeb seems to have found success on both of these picks, the Lucian and the Renekton, in recent times. But it is definitely his example of Renekton play as Guga. He's going to come in. They're going to force Canyon out, but Canyon did manage to grab the Krug as Docdom gets chunked about half by one spear. Rod of Ages completed at 12 minutes, I believe.
Yeah.
13
Canyon,
maybe for Canyon.
Canyon doesn't go for the, Unholy Grail or anything like that. He goes straight for the scaling the damage, stacking fun. As wow, that was a nice bubble. He somehow knew that Showmaker was backing in that brush, and was able to keep him here. As here's another replay. You see that Canyon is on vision, so Gugar I think probably shouldn't be up that far, but he knows he has flash and stopwatch with Beyond coming, so he's like, maybe we can turn this around. And Canyon gets extremely low. Notice how he survives here. The quick heal into the swipe. Eventually does go down, turns into a 1v1. Or a 1-for-1 rather, as Docdom is kind of left out to dry. Not much that Gugar can do as he was so low. This is Rich just kind of face checking, getting burst 100-0 by Godzilla.
Yeah, this is like, I don't even know which version of Godzilla this is, like the scariest one. Not the one in the most recent one, because Godzilla seemed like a good guy in that movie. It was one of
that's weird.
It was one of like the 90s Godzilla, where it was just 100% evil monster of doom. Yeah, he's Nogari's massive. Level 12, highest level in the game. He's ahead of Rich by 2 levels.
Yeah.
And he's keeping up all of this pressure. Probably holding onto a lot of gold as well as Kuzan. He's going to get out of there.
Yeah, used his own heal, it looks like, as Shirley going to be dropped down here in the mid lane. And they're just, they're kind of bullying Kuzan out of this one, as Beyond is so far behind that he can't do anything. He's 3 levels behind Canyon right now. I mean, he's just non-existent after the way that the early game played itself out.
Yep.
Where at level 1, he got his buff stolen, and then he tried to invade without flash and got killed. So it's kind of a 5v4 at this point in time. Very unfortunate for Beyond, because Canyon has Cougar didn't even realize that that wasn't his turret.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, let me just push up. But that was the sand or the sun turret.
The sun disc, as it were. It is going to be taken down there by the Thresh, as the arrow is going to connect onto Ghost. Teleport comes in from Dynamics. Double teleport immediately to follow up, as Ghost will probably not. He's not going to die. They're going to back away too early. And Showmaker and Nogari come in to save their little AD carry here towards the bottom side. Okay, in goes the Zenith Blade. Solar Flare landing there, as well as the Zoe's going to be the first one taken down. Beyond has about 2.5 health, as he's going to get the heck out of there. Showmaker still has Emperor's Divide, but not a lot of health bar, and Nogari as well. He's got a massive bounty. Rich looks for it, but the volley is going to ring true. Rich grabs a kill off the back, and Dynamics are turning it all on its head. Canyon can't find the spear, and it was just a little bit too much there for DAMWON.
You know, Duck Dom, we don't talk about him too often here on this Team Dynamics team, but he gets a winning bot lane for the first time in a while, and he was able to carry really hard in that last fight. As DWG, they don't want to give this one up. It is a 3-on-4. They're thinking about going for the fight here.
Yeah, they're not done yet. Spear is going to come through, but it's not going to be able to take a Drake or anything like that. And that is going to be the second one taken here by Dynamics. 2 dragons to 0. This could be something that Dynamics can hold on to as they look for some sort of late game advantage. I mean, their team doesn't necessarily scale that well either. They've got a lot of squishies. Does help the relevance of this Renekton stay intact for a long time.
Yeah. And let's take a look here once again. The nice setup, and then 5 bajillion teleports came in. Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 from each side do get used, and it kind of, you know, we wait here. Nothing much is happening, but everybody kind of knows a fight is brewing. And then eventually, just the engage onto Kuzan. Really nice job by Beryl. They immediately take the Zoe out of the fight, and you're thinking, oh, okay, here we go. It's DWG again. But look at how Duckdom fights against everything. Him and Rich, the 2 of them are just like 2 turrets playing tower defense against the giant monsters that are Ghost, Showmaker, and Nuggery. And they just get kited down so well by the frost arrows. And you can see that Beryl and Canyon on the left, they're like desperately trying to get into the fight, but they can't quite do it, really. And they're the 2 supports that are supposed to, you know, heal their front line. Yeah, and all that stuff, but they were kind of separated there. DWG probably playing that one a little bit too aggressively, trying to force it. And the kiting was so effective that Showmaker, he had his flash and his ultimate available, but he could just never find a good place to use it.
Didn't want to flash underneath the turret there as Rich. He's under his, but Solar Flare's going to get a nice slow. And Canyon, he'll make it out. Beryl as well. Soaking a lot of damage there with the Eclipse. And a few Primal Surges later, and Canyon will be back to terrorizing the jungle. Kuzan with some spare time here towards the top lane, and Duckdom and Guga in mid, wanting to get some work done on these turrets. But DAMWON, they're going to join this one very early and deny any sort of damage onto the turret nicely. Showmaker splitting on the bottom side, and it feels like at this stage that DAMWON has more players on the map than Dynamics do. And yeah, Showmaker not in any danger, but still decides that he wants to leave. Nogari picks up the minion wave that was delivered to him by Kuzan. And I think he went back and built a full Black Cleaver, as he's 64 CS in the lead against the Lucian. And that, guys, is bad news for the Lucian.
Yeah, definitely. And He's going to be frontline. He's going to be slicing and dicing and swiping, all the good stuff that Renekton does. So can try to stack up a little bit for Ghost, I assume. But at the same time, it's not really Ghost that's the carry on his team. It's kind of the Nidalee and the Azir at this point that are going to be doing the heavy lifting in terms of the damage. So maybe a different item could have been considered, as we're just kind of sitting here now. We're waiting for the Infernal Drake Soul that is coming in. Note that Team Dynamics got the first 2 Drakes in this game, even though DAMWON have been ahead for the majority of it. So they've been able to stack up a couple. This does mean that if the game goes the distance and DAMWON get 4 Infernal Drakes instead of 2, it's probably going to benefit them in the end. But we'll see how this one does play out.
Yep, for right now, those Drakes are going to be helping Dynamics just a little bit, trying to alleviate this 5,000 gold lead stat advantage. But as you can see, it's been a very sad Rek'Sai day. This game, sort of the lead that Noguri had, all stemmed from that red buff invade at level 1. Really intelligently done by DAMWON to navigate themselves to a point where they could get the Renekton into a great spot. Last team fight, not working out here, but now they're just going to go for the raid boss as Noguri is spotted. DAMWON moving on over here. Canyon turns up, and they're going to continue. The rest of Dynamics moving forward. Of course, Vision not at a premium for Dynamics because they have Hawk Shots, they've got Tremor Sensors, they've got all of the different options. And so no sneaky Barons to be had here for DAMWON. Now Dynamics with the inside track on this inner turret, and only 36 seconds on the Infernal Drake means that maybe going for the Baron was a rough idea. Canyon going to get chunked a little bit by Kuzan, but no bubbles. Now this is going to be the fight, as DAMWON do not want to give away Soul Point to Dynamics. Too much of a coin flip.
In the fight, again, it's going to come down to Kuzan, Duckdom, and Rich trying to kite. I think that Beyond, still very far behind, is going to find difficulty finding too much efficiency and effectiveness here in this fight. But let's see what he can do. As Kuzan trying to poke it down to start us off.
Yep, Lantern thrown out. Now that's going to be on cooldown as Guga also throwing the hook in there. Now DAMWON's turn to try and get some poke through. Paddle Stars being avoided, Bubbles not landing. That's good news here for DAMWON as they vie for position. Turret going to go down. I believe that was the inner in mid lane. As Spear also not connecting. The poke needs to happen. Both of these teams want to get poked down before a fight starts, especially Dynamics. They have 0 frontline. They're not going to be able to play front to back too easily. They need to have health advantages. As Noguri's found Rich. Oh no! And he throws out the culling as it is going to be secured by DAMWON, the dragon. But Noguri eventually gets on top of Rich. I don't know what his positioning was right there, but now the damage is going to be true from DAMWON. And regardless of any bubbles that are going to be landing, Kuzan is trying to get the hell out of here. Canyon trying to sprint after Beyond, who's getting hit by minions, and Canyon eventually grabs him. I believe that was a trap that, unbeknownst to Beyond, he just walked over. And DAMWON made that look so easy in comparison to the last team fight.
Absolutely. I mean, the confusing positioning out of Rich kind of got it started on the 5v4, and we already mentioned how Beyond's not doing much. There was 0 inside track for Duckdom to do any damage. That fight looked entirely different to the one where Duckdom was able to get 1 million damage in a row. I mean, he sees the Renekton there, but still kind of gets caught out, and he even charges forward with Nuguri having Flash. He's got Flash of his own, and even on Vision, Rich gets caught out by that, not reacting fast enough. And then 4v5 over here, they were desperately trying to get in there and steal the Infernal Drake away, so Duckdom had 0 protection.
Trap. No!
Yeah, and that last, I love the little Pengu with the hat.
yeah, right.
Top of the morning to you.
Just dabbing.
Yeah, and also a little range minion getting some damage in, but yeah, that's kind of the way we expected these team fights to go, to be honest, and it did go the way we expected in that last one.
Ooh, very close to a steal with the volley, but Showmaker orders the Sand Soldiers to go collect himself a red buff, and they do so effectively. We had a look there to see that Beyond was the lowest level in the game.
Yeah.
Canyon's 4 levels ahead of him, now maybe 5, as the arrow is going to glide gracefully by.
It's 5.
Another one added to the ether of Runeterra. as we've just got too much pressure here. The Baron was the prize for DAMWON, of course, after that team fight. And I think everyone was expecting a game that was going to end similarly to this. But it was still just really intelligently done by DAMWON. I want to commend them in how they set up this sort of advantage, despite losing a couple of team fights here and there. All of the homework had been done, right? Like, it's just clean strategic League of Legends, as well as just being extraordinarily talented. As Kuzan, going to find a bit of damage there onto Beryl, but Primal Surge available to Canyon, as is the Piercing Darkness. They have a lot of sustain, actually, in this comp. And it's feeling like this snowball is about to hit the base of the mountain. Valdez?
Mm-hmm. The avalanche is coming in.
Yeah.
It's going to crash very soon. And they've still got 50 seconds on their Baron buff, but it seems like they're taking their time with this one, just waiting for the waves to push in. You can see that Rich is off in the bottom lane, kind of just pushing and farming by himself, but he's got to get back here eventually to help deal with the push.
Yep, he is going to crash that wave, so at least DAMWON... Oh, no. Okay, not going to find the Dawning Shadow, so Docdom will survive for the minute, but it does mean that this inhibitor will go down. Where pressure is given somewhere, it is given up elsewhere. And it was the top lane that did fall. Good hook lands there from Guga, but no follow-up. Just not going to be able to. Nogri sitting there at full health, 3,000 hit points. Beyond gets a chunk. In goes Beryl. Solar Flare goes completely wide, though, as Beyond just cannot stand in amongst this fight. Beryl is punished for that poor positioning as Canyon goes golden. Ghost trying to keep Showmaker alive as Canyon eventually gets out of there, and now Nogri, the raid boss, trying to stand tall. Emperor's Divide lands only onto Kuzan, as Showmaker's had a bit of an off game so far, but still just standing true in the front line, as that's the snare. Guga will be falling here as Ghost is going to finish him off. And despite finding a few options in the middle of the fight, Dynamics just didn't have enough money to buy cool items to give them enough stats to win.
Yeah, they're going to push in here. The TP coming in. You see Beyond desperate trying to get the kill, but he just gets slapped down once again.
Oh, jeez. I don't know. It's just 100% bullying of the Rek'Sai, as Rich is going to fall. That's Canyon helping grab that kill as Nogri collects it for himself. The big old Renekton doing a lot of work this game. Docdom wants to try and save his Nexus for the minute as Canyon eventually does go down. Nogri decides that he can't get on top of the Ashe because she's too good at kiting, and he'll just win the game instead. So DAMWON completed, I believe, in sub 30 minutes. But in a few of those team fights, Dynamics certainly made them work for it. It was just a composition that didn't really allow for an early game to go that poorly.
Yeah, that's very true. I'm trying to think about if I give this to Nuggery or to Canyon.
I think it has to be Canyon, right?
The invade was kind of like a team play, but then Beyond invading by himself was also kind of a Beyond whoopsie, right? And Canyon played it very well, but
I mean, that was a team decision, and actually Nogri just hard smashed his lane.
Exactly. So
I think maybe you need to give it to him.
I think this one might just have to be handed over to Nuggery. I mean, Canyon was unbelievably ahead, but it wasn't exactly because he was, molding the game himself into this incredible thing. So,
yeah, no, I think Nogri has to.
I'll give it to Nuggery this time around.
Precedence.
I wouldn't be surprised if Canyon.
Yeah, I think if the votes
for game 2,
if the votes are separated between Nogri and Canyon, I don't really care who gets it as long as they both get points this game, because I think both of them were absolutely integral. Yes. The bottom lane got pretty much crushed, right? This is probably the best performance that we've seen out of Docdom.
Neither of them in the bottom lane. They combined for less than 10,000 damage. Yep. Docdom was desperately trying to carry his team. You noticed in the last team fight, even, Docdom was getting so much value against Renekton, against Leona. This is part of the reason why in the later stages of the game, once those ranged 80 carries that do sustain damage get fed, champions like Renekton, like a tank such as Leona, will eventually fall off. Thankfully, they were supported by the rest of their team, and they were very far ahead, so it didn't end up mattering, even though they lost the Renekton and the Leona relatively early on in that fight. As there you have it. Still too far ahead, and DAMWON It was a messy end, but it did end the first game to their advantage.
Yeah, and it was a pretty clean snowball, even though there were a couple of whoopsies, right? And if you set up the strategy correctly, play out the lanes properly, and the macro is under control, it doesn't really matter if you whiff a couple of team fights and don't necessarily hard smash your opponent, because you've already done your homework, right? You've come prepared, and things can go a little bit awry, but the insurance policy is there, and DAMWON really managing to do it well, but I'd like to see a little bit tidier bottom lane play.
Yeah.
And maybe Showmaker to get in a couple of extra Azir games, because it just didn't really look like the the massive, impactful Azir, the Emperor that we're used to seeing. But maybe we've been spoiled by BDD and Faker and things like that.
Yeah.
It could certainly be the case. But ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go to a short break. When we get back, game number 2.
애쉬 볼게 애쉬.
여기 좀 안 좋아 안 좋아.
아니 잡았어요. 와봐 얘들아.
조이 볼게 조이 볼게.
저희 풀 있어.
나 초식에 있거든. 천천히 해야 돼. 초식에 있어.
저희 풀 썼다.
나가겠는데 그냥.
저희 풀 하나 더
뒤에
썼다.
짧은 거 봐주라.
일단 천천히.
봐주라.
저희 트래피 노플. 나 텔로 올게. 이거 봐줘. 저 있으면.
끝날 것 같은데.
나 텔 있어. 텔 박을게.
건배 일로 와봐.
아 미니언 박기 미니언.
뒤에부터.
넥타이 풀 조심. 넥타이. 저희 풀 있어.
뒤에 타워부터. 내려줄게. 아래 타워부터.
야 이거 같이 좀 있어주라 용준아. 그 같은 성단에서 루시안 못 때리게 해줘.
루시안. 네 노플일 텐데.
애쉬 클린 졌고.
아 좋았다. 타웠죠 일단.
천천히.
여기 타야 될 줄?
트래피 났어. 유정아.
아마 넥서스.
넥서스.